years ago, I had got off a plane and I walked into the bathroom at the airport and I splashed my face with really cold water. And I looked in the mirror and I thought, what the fuck are you doing? I had butterflies of excitement for so long, but now they had settled in the bottom of my stomach and I was filled with dread. And I didn't know why, because I hadn't felt any dread for months. I was about to walk through the customs to meet the immigration officer in India and hopefully get a stamp in my passport that would allow me to walk through the gates into the blistering heat and smog of Bangalore. Now, when you arrive in India, it is quite intoxicating. The horns are tooting, the people are there, there's a crowd, and they're staring at you like they're really staring at you. And it becomes quite suffocating because you don't know where to look, because there's just so much to take in. All of your senses are alive with the sounds, the smells, and the sights laid out like the beautiful orange marigolds on their trolleys outside the temples. I really hoped that he would be waiting outside for me. After all, I'd come a long way. I'd flown across the other side of the world to India to meet a man who I had met just a few months before on Tinder when I right swiped. Like, what could possibly go wrong? Really, what could go wrong? And if there was anyone to blame, it would be that fortune teller who I saw in Melbourne. I gave her $60 and she popped it into her little bag, and then I followed her up the creaky stairs to a very dark room. And in this room there was a table with a red cloth, 2 chairs. There was not a tarot card or a crystal ball in sight. And we sat down, she closed her eyes, and she began to call in the messages from on high. There's so many reasons people go to see fortune tellers. For me, I wanted some hope. For others, they want guidance, or they want to know what might be ahead in their future. I already knew what was coming up in my future. I was about to take residence in my mother's spare bedroom in Canberra, one of the dullest capital cities in Australia and probably the world. And after living in Melbourne, that was a lot to take in. I was 52, I'd been single for a long time, and I was now jobless after being made redundant. I wasn't expecting it, and my life had really turned upside down. So I thought, I'll go and see the mystic. She might give me an answer on how to find a job. And as I sat there and listened to her, she started rambling all of these things that made no sense. You're going to write a book, she said, and New Zealand came up, and then clothing, and India. And I thought, oh my God, this means nothing to me. What about my job? What about the fucking job that I need to know about? Nothing came up about the job. And then she said, well, our time's nearly up. Do you have any questions? I could have asked about the job, but instead I said, could you tell me about my love life? And I knew that was probably going to lead to a dead end. But she closed her eyes and she called in the messages again from on high. And she said to me, you're going to meet a man. And he will be a very tall, strong, well-grounded businessman from overseas. And he's going to be your life partner. And she said, you need to go back online. And with that, she stood up and I had to follow her back down those stairs with one thought on my mind, oh my God, I have to go back online. Fuck, it's time for Tinder roulette. yet again. I never found a job, but she did give me hope and the guidance that I didn't actually know that I needed, because there was a very perfect swipe right. And I sent all of my possessions home to live with my mother in her spare room in Canberra, and I jetted off to India, where that beautiful man who was my life partner was indeed waiting outside. Thank you.
Well